Well, we are all navigating the use of artificial intelligence in our lives. Did you know you can actually get a degree in AI? Walsh College is now offering a bachelor's degree in AI and machine learning. It's one of the first colleges to do that in Michigan. The college is also using it in unique ways in the classroom. For example, the vice president and chief academic officer has created his own avatar. So when students have a question at, say, 3 o'clock in the morning, they just ask it instead of him. Joining us right now is Dr. David Chippers. It's not the avatar, he's actually really here. And Daniel Sem, who's the executive director of the Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship and the president of Walsh Ventures. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining me. A degree in AI, you think you hear everything and the next thing pops up. What's the point? And I say that facetiously, but it's a good question.
Yeah, it is a good question. And I'll say the interesting thing is obviously AI is shifting very quickly right now. Obviously, a lot of the big tech giants are out there, and there's a big demand on high quality talent. And that's going to continue into the future. So Walsh sat back. This is multiple programs now that we're leaning into AI ML. So we saw this, I'll say early on. And then all of the news reports and all of the surveys from the business leaders that we're seeing are just confirming, there's a heavy interest. There's going to be a lot and continue to be more investments into the AI ML sector. So we wanted to help prepare people who want to lean into that space and in essence, develop the skills for the new AI economy, especially on the tech side.
So what does that curriculum look like then? What classes am I taking so I can get a bachelor's degree in AI?
Yeah, so frankly, what we're doing is we're leaning into a lot of the core things. Like you're going to need to know some of the programming, some of the different security aspects of that. You're going to lean into things like actual machine learning itself. There's obviously heavy statistics involved in all of that, as well as things like computer vision, et cetera. So there's a big cadre of different subjects, is what I would say. Our curriculum is matching out with what are being established as national standards for the knowledge base that's required with AI/ML degree, and what specifically the employers are looking for as far as the talent and skills in order to land on the job and actually have an impact early on.
Daniel, I wanted to ask you too. I know you're in close conversation with many of the businesses throughout Metro Detroit. I imagine this is a job that will probably very soon, if not already, be in demand as businesses and ventures starts to expand what they're doing and how they do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Through the Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship that I run, we had a workshop last fall actually for businesses in Michigan, how to use AI and to improve their processes and digital marketing and efficiencies and so on. So yeah, I'm seeing that strongly with established businesses, big and small. And then I also run an angel investor group called Walsh Ventures, and we're seeing a lot of startups along the lines with innovations that are trying to solve these problems. In fact, Walsh actually has a spin-out company, CSI Sim, where we have patented technology that's used for corporate and college education, and it's some of that we're deploying in the classes that Dr. Skippers talked about.
So here's a question for either one of you or both of you. How do you introduce a program like this while also balancing the concerns over AI that could be pushing some jobs out?
Well, the balance point there is, I'll say, I'll be very succinct. I see AI differently than I think a lot of folks out there. Yes, there's a lot of talk about how many jobs are going to get replaced with AI. We're already seeing data come out from the businesses saying, yeah, some of the jobs are disappearing, but as always, as new tech comes out, brand new jobs are being created as well. But I think one of the big stories that now the data specifically is starting to show as well is that there is a future where employers are seeing combining AI with human beings for this kind of enhanced approach is actually kind of a sweet spot. Actually, it's not kind of, it is a sweet spot. So a lot of what's happening is the businesses are starting to lean into, how do I upskill my existing employees to have them learn the skills that we need to work effectively with AI? So because part of the story is not just, hey, am I going to be a really deeply tech person who can create AI? Part of what we're leaning into as well with Walsh College is, if you're a business person, what skills do you need in order to work with AI to be more effective and more collaborative with it? So you can help meet that sweet spot that the employers are looking for.
Daniel, I want to get
Yeah,
your take on that in just a moment, but we've got to take a real fast commercial break. I will talk to you in about 90 seconds.
sounds good.
Hey, everybody, welcome back to Local 4 Live. We are talking about a new AI degree over at Walsh College with Dr. David Shippers, the Vice President and Chief Academic Officer, and Daniel Sem, who is the Executive Director of the Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship and President of Walsh Ventures. We left off waiting for our comments from Daniel about the need to balance the ever-growing field of AI with the concerns about maybe some job loss over it. Daniel, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think it's maybe less about replacing people, as much of the discussion is, and more about leveraging them. And that's true whether you're talking about manufacturing or whether you're talking about professions like law, medicine, or higher ed where we are. So, for example, is there a fear that teachers are going to be replaced with AI avatars like we're creating at Walsh? That's not what I think. I think in most industries, people are kind of stretched to the limit. And so I have an AI avatar of myself in my learning management system for my course. We have one for Dr. Skippers. We're going to be adding that to a lot of our classes. And like you said earlier, students will be able to talk to us after hours. They'll always be able to talk to us, but now they'll be able to talk to us more simple things like, I forgot when the final exam is or what's going to be on the final. Really kind of simple questions. And then our time can be spent on more impactful things. And that's true in any industry. And so yeah, and the avatars that we have are trained on, for example, mine, 6 leading business books, as well as my curriculum and all my content. And so the way in which we train the avatar is unique and proprietary, but it's actually almost like a digital twin of myself to be a teaching assistant. So
I find
not
it
replacing.
ironic that we're having the conversation about an AI degree in tandem with concerns over job loss, because now we're talking about new jobs that are being created, which is actually my next question for both of you, is that I'm certain that there is going to be an ever increasing demand for staff members to manage how businesses and companies utilize AI.
Yeah, absolutely. So some of our coursework that we're adding is actually outside of the actual technical realm. It is in the business side of the house, and it is leaning specifically into how do you lead teams and how do you move your companies and organizations forward by leveraging AI. So, like for instance, tonight I've got a doctoral class that we're kicking off. It's an AI strategy for leadership that is not technically based. It is very much about what is AI, how do you use it, and how do you use it ethically, and how do you build it appropriately, so that you don't run into problems and you secure it and all these different things. But part of that is discussing how do you leverage it with teams, with humans, and how do you grow your organization. The short version, I'll say, is realistically, I think that as we look at new jobs being created, existing jobs being shifted some based off of AI, there's going to be a lot of new different leadership styles and approaches that are going to have to come into play for businesses to be successful with AI. It's not just a software package that you plug in and all of a sudden you save 25% of your capital outlay. It's going to produce and drive innovative changes in ways we probably haven't seen before. So I see it as a great opportunity to enhance organizations in how we function, as opposed to kind of a doom and gloom catalyst. Is with everything, with every new tech, we can kind of choose how do we want to use it. So we're definitely trying to help paint a picture. You can use it advantageously, ethically, and actually make a big significant difference for both your company and the people within your company.
Which is actually leads into my next and last question here for either of you or both of you. Do you equate the adapting of AI to surviving in the future?
Do you want to go first? I'll let you go first, Dan, and then I'll jump in.
Yeah, I mean, technology is constantly evolving, and we need to evolve with it. So surviving not in a negative sense, that's just the way society and technology is, and innovate. And we're not just teaching it the way Dr. Skippers talked about, we're deploying it. So students are seeing, practicing what we preach. I don't know, Dave, if you want to add to that. So.
Yeah, I'll jump in. So I would very firmly say adapting to AI and evolving with it is going to be key, not only to survival, but in essence, prospering. The thing I would say is, I'll make a quick comparison. If you look back to the societal and business changes that happened with the internet, especially as it permeated our lives, that's a good example of how it fundamentally changed business and society as a whole. I'm not saying it's going to be exactly that way, but I think in essence, those early adopters and those mid to early adopters are going to get some definite advantages over their competitors. One of the big things that I think will come out of it is I think the companies who adapt with it well and innovate with it well will actually be able to increase and speed up their cycle times and be more responsive to the market. And that will give them a competitive edge over those who don't. I mean, that's pretty straightforward. But the short answer is yes, I see that you definitely are going to have to adapt and evolve with AI in order to survive and be successful and prosperous.
All right, gentlemen, thank you so much for your time today. And any students watching right now, if you're looking for a degree in AI, Walsh College is the place for you. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Thanks.